Last hour of news hour tonight. It's about 6 minutes past the top of the hour. Eldest Member of Parliament Adan Keynan is with me in studio tonight. Talk about a lot of things, the wrangles in the Jubilee Party and his new position. Plus, I'd like to read a statement here from the Azimio side. We in Azimio La Umoja announce and without prejudice basis that we are prepared to go back to the bipartisan talks with the opposite side, Kenya Kwanza, and are prepared to stand down the demonstrations scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, provided that Kenya Kwanza recuses Honorable Adan Keynan from the bipartisan committee. That's part of the statement sent or read by Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper leader and Azimio principal. And tonight, Adan Keynan is with us here. You have just confirmed that statement that indeed it's true. Now, we took a break, and my question to you is a ranking member, a senior member of parliament, in fact, as you say, the longest serving in the 13th parliament. Why don't you think that these articles of the Constitution and the Political Parties Act should apply to you, and not only you, several other members of parliament who have crossed the floor?
I think, first of all, it's not about crossing the floor. It's about entrenching our democratic rights. Azimio, on the face of it, is supposed to be a coalition. In the Jubilee Party, I'm the person who was in charge of actually coalitions. I have never seen the content of that particular purported Azimio coalition. I have never seen. There was one document that was gathered from anybody, what we have been subjected to after the election is something that any reasonable person actually will have objected to. As I said earlier, Jubilee is the third largest party in the current parliament, and the second largest party actually in the opposition. Mm-hmm. We have lost everything as Jubilee. And I think somebody was revenging because we lost the presidency. Somebody was saying maybe Jubilee did not do much and therefore they had to be harassed. But
your work is hard.
So we have lost all our slots.
Okay.
We have 34 members, 33 members of parliament and 1 member of parliament in Yala. So 34 members of parliament. And Jubilee is a parliamentary party. So literally all the slots that ought to have been occupied by Jubilee have now gone to other parties. And now you ask yourself, what business will Jubilee members have in a coalition that has no regard for
But we just confirmed that not all the slots have been lost. You still have even members of Jubilee in the leadership of the House. In fact, Sabina Chege is set to be...
They've written. Yes. That's what I'm trying to say is this. Mm-hmm. Positions are supposed to be shared within the opposition.
Yes.
We got 3...
Based on numbers.
Based on numbers.
Yes.
We had 3 slots in the Parliamentary Service Commission. One time, the position was given to Aluke. One time, it was given to Keynan. One time, it was given to Fatuma Dulo. And ultimately, ODM took that slot. Just like they have done in the past. We had a slot in the deputy minority, the minority whip.
Let me stop you before we even exit that point. The 3 names you mentioned have signified their intention to work with the other side. Why should
This is the beginning of the formation. Even these issues do not arise.
Dulo left the other day.
No, let me tell you this. Let me tell you what caused this. And I think you need to listen to this. Mm-hmm. Immediately after the election, before even the current parliament actually started, that the initial stage is when we were shortchanged. And when we realized we were losing everything, we just say, no, this cannot be business as usual. Stop it. In the process of doing that, they said, oh, we'll remove you if you question. Fatuma Dulo was removed because simply she questioned how can the Honorable Kamar lose her position as House Business Committee member? How can the other members miss their committees of their choice? So by questioning, you are told you have rebelled, you are removed. The same thing has happened in the National Assembly. The beauty about this is, you have made reference to the Political Parties Act. The Constitution, this progressive constitution of August 2010 allows every member of parliament, as the representative of the people of Kenya, to make decisions that first and foremost are consistent with the constitution, 2, that will entrench our democracy, and 3, that will properly project the thinking and the aspirations of the people that they represent. Now, taking these things holistically, we as Jubilee members have been shortchanged in every aspect, and therefore what we have done is not to join the government. What we have done is to say we have challenges with Azimio. And Mr. Ichungu, this is also consistent with the way many other people, many other stalwarts have been treated since the advent of multipartyism. I don't need to name. Go back to 1991, 1992, and some of us have been around.
But we have to speak the truth. I don't think Fatuma Dulo was removed from her position as minority whip because she questioned why Honorable Kamar's name was missing.
She questioned why Jubilee members were being mistreated, including herself. At one time, she was appointed as a commissioner. The next day, it was removed. She was given it's because, look, because we work as a family. So the question is not about Keynan or Fatuma Dulo, is this. I would have been happy if the other Jubilee members were given their rightful slots. So everybody is suffering.
Yes, let's be pragmatic about this, Mheshimiwa. Do you think it's okay for you to signify your intentions to work with the other side, and Azimio, who you should be supporting in Parliament, just lets you do what you want because it's your right under Article 138? Do you think it's okay?
That question has two sides. Is it also okay for Azimio leadership to mistreat Jubilee? And this is the common sense, if you can willingly take away our rights in the name of whatever
region. At what point were these rights taken?
At the initial stage.
Was it initial? Dulo was just the other day.
PSC, look at it. It's not. It's immediately the first sitting of the House actually was complete.
Do you get what you bargain for, or you get what is your right in Parliament, politically?
What is rightfully ours because we are coalition?
No, but it's what you bargain for as a coalition that you get. If you bargain for slots.
Numbers don't lie. Let me tell you, Candice.
Yes.
ODM has certain numbers. Those numbers can attract certain positions.
Exactly.
Jubilee has certain numbers. Those numbers can earn us particular positions. Why by the same? What we're asking for is not a privilege. Our rights.
It's your right.
Our rights as per our numbers in both houses.
So it's based on the numbers. Say for example, Jubilee had only 15 members of Parliament, both Senate and National Assembly.
No, Jubilee has 33
both,
members.
I'm saying, case scenario?
Yes.
They had 3 or 8 or 5.
Yes.
Do you still think you are entitled to these seats as members of Azimio if you brought in only 3 elected members?
You see what happens is, under the coalition agreement, each party is supposed to get something proportionate to the numbers that they have.
That's captured in the coalition agreement?
I have not seen, but that's what we are told. But completing the numbers, these are things that we discussed. Yes. I'm yet to see, I'm yet to see the coalition agreement, the Azimio coalition, and I'm supposed to be the national vice chair of the Azimio coalition. These are some of the paradoxes. These are some of the challenges that we are talking about. And maybe these are some of the reasons why God has denied us the big seat. In brief, what I'm trying to tell you is this. Politics is about interest. Politics is about representing the interest of those who have elected us. If Azimio could usurp and take everything that rightfully belongs to Jubilee, honestly, we'll have to say, no, it doesn't work. You will do it even at the family level if that marriage doesn't work. At this initial stage, we are still in
Final question on that, because we have a lot to talk about. Why then don't you just step aside according to the Political Parties Act, which even goes further to talk about independent candidates who join political parties to resign? Why don't you just take that step and say, you know, to hell with Azimio, let's do this our way?
I think Ken, we need to get this. Azimio is not a political party.
It's a coalition of parties.
Azimio does not have one member of parliament. We have ODM as a consensus party, we have Wiper as a consensus party, we have Jubilee as a consensus party, Cube as a consensus party, and many other parties, small parties as consensus party. So we as Jubilee, as one of supposedly consensus party of Azimio, have said, look, we are not getting our rights within this coalition, and therefore we'll invoke our rights to associate with anybody to say, look, we no longer believe in what you are doing. And at an opportune time, we will exit.
I agree with you.
We will exit.
I agree with you. Azimio was an umbrella that all these constituent parties went, and individual parties fielded members.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I agree with you on that point. But under the umbrella of Azimio, which had a presidential candidate, if Raila Odinga won the election, what would you have said today?
Yes.
About that fact?
That is under different framework.
What would have happened? That's what I'm asking. Would you have looked at it the same way?
That will have been under different framework. But what we are trying to say is Jubilee as one of the consensus parties.
But you're not answering me on Azimio. Just in case Azimio took the presidency, Mheshimiwa, would you have said, no, the Azimio, we don't have a president because we don't have constituent, we only have constituent parties. There's no party called Azimio. This is not our president. Would you have said that?
If we did not get our rights as Jubilee, we'll still say the same, this president does not represent us.
Okay, you would have said that.
We will still have
but
said...
you would have recognized the presidency
No,
under
it will
your...
depend. We will have... You see, look at the circumstances. This is about politics.
Okay.
What we will have done is, if the person we elected does not represent or respect the provisions of the coalition...
That's the motivation. They don't respect
the provisions of this.
Yeah.
Then we'll bolt out. That's the essence of our politics.
Why don't you do it? Because two wrongs. Why don't you, as now from the other side, respect the Political Parties Act and the Constitution of Kenya?
And that's exactly what we are doing. That's why we are saying we, as Jubilee, we will no longer subscribe to that purported Azimio coalition agreement simply because
so where do
our
you,
rights.
Where do you subscribe right now?
Right now, we are working as Jubilee, and in due process, we will exit Azimio.
Yes. Which is your right.
Yes.
But where do you support right now?
We support our conscience.
You don't support Kenya Kwanza?
If Kenya Kwanza are doing good, we'll support them. If Azimio, for whatever reason, has anything that will add to the national well-being, we'll support them. But right now, the only thing that we see is demonstrations, propaganda, hate campaigns, and those things are inconsistent. That's
some of the members, and I'll call for lack of a better term, renegade, rebel members of the Jubilee Party who have decided to go their way because of mistreatment and all these things, have also pledged allegiance to the president. Are you pledging allegiance to the president, working with the president of the day?
Absolutely. You see, I think that's the one thing that you need to understand. The elections were concluded in August.
Exactly, yes.
We have one president called His Excellency William Samoei Ruto as the 5th president. All of us as citizens, as patriotic...
Kenya has only one president.
One president. We are supposed to... First and foremost, we subscribe to the Constitution. Two, the holder of the office is one. One right now. And that's His Excellency President William Ruto. And we are all loyal.
Okay. You're all loyal. So let's talk about your loyalty.
And I think that's the law. It's not about parties. That is why the presidency is supposed to be a unifying institution.
Okay.
So whether you support it or do, the moment the person has taken oath of office as the president of the Republic of Kenya, you are supposed to respect
that institution.
That institution.
Not even the individual.
Not the individual.
I agree with you. But tell me about that pledging allegiance and loyalty is what has gotten us here. There is a faction that believes that the only reason you're wrestling control of the Jubilee Party is because you want to give it totally to the other side, Kenya Kwanza, because the president has been getting all this support from across the board. So Jubilee is signifying, not only signifying, but also intentionally working with the president. Now, this other side of Jeremiah Kioni says, you want to take our party and take it to the president where you're pledging allegiance. That is the problem with the Jubilee Party
let me say this. It's not even worth discussing Jeremiah Kioni. Jeremiah Kioni has been a member of my committee between 2007 and 2013, and the Defense and Foreign Relations. It's not even worth. I do not want even to waste a second in discussing Jeremiah Kioni. Two, Jeremiah Kioni has never represented this party. If anything, we attribute the mass loss that we suffered to the conduct of Jeremiah Kioni and cohorts, and therefore, and even the challenges that right now we are going through. That notwithstanding, the president and his party enjoy an absolute majority both in the Senate and the National Assembly, and therefore, they are not.
Post-election, not during election.
The post-election right now, the numbers they have right now, they have both in the Senate and the National Assembly are more than enough. They're almost short of actually to that majority. To that extent, our numbers is not a big issue right now for the president and his party. What is at stake right now is the rights of the Jubilee members of Parliament, the rights of their conscience.
What do you mean? I didn't get that. Your numbers are of no consequences.
What I'm trying to say is, Kenya Kwanza has good numbers actually in Parliament, almost short of...
Post-election.
Post-election.
Yes. Not during election.
No, post-election, they have already signed agreements with particular parties. They have good numbers, both in the Senate and the National Assembly.
I've known you for a long time, but today I feel that you are splitting hairs here. Let's agree that during the election, before all these things happened, there was no absolute majority from the Kenya Kwanza side. Let's agree on that.
But those issues have already been determined by the Speaker. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right now.
Those issues...
So that's what you're saying, it's of no consequence. Whether you come with your 30 plus, there's no consequence.
What I'm trying to say is this. Those issues have been canvassed before the first session of the current Parliament. The Speaker made a determination, and therefore, I'll be completely out of order to revisit the decision the Speaker has already made on what constitutes coalition formation, either before or after the general election. That issue has already been settled. It's just like a court, you know, the way the Speaker's ruling work. The second bit is Jubilee. we were in the law clearly says we can exit 3 months after the general election. Okay? The months are over. We will invoke. We have challenges right now within our party because of the contestation that has been going on. At an opportune time, we will invoke.
I agree with that. But now talk to me about you and your position in the Jubilee Party. Jubilee Party went to an election. I think Raphael Tuju and the team had just exited. Raphael Tuju left, but we had David Murathe, we had the chairperson, we had the party leader. Now, what happened yesterday, that this faction of leadership, the new leadership, Kanini Kega and yourself and other officials, purported also to remove the party leader. Under what provision did this happen?
Let me tell you the sections of the law that clearly allow...
Article 9 and 13 of your constitution.
No,
Jubilee,
under the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act.
No, talk to me about, I'll talk about that, but talk to me first about the removal of Uhuru Kenyatta as a party leader, if it's within the Jubilee coalition constitution. Talk to me about the Jubilee Party's constitution and that provision, and I'll limit you within 2 articles, just Article 9 and Article 13 of that constitution. Give me a general area that I can refer to right here that talks about the removal of the party leader. Forget about the retirement benefits. Talk to me about that first.
I think let's accept this. First, let me clarify this.
Yes.
President Uhuru is a distinguished, highly respected Kenyan. And me as an individual, and I haven't been his friend for over 2 decades now, will continue to respect him as former president, the 4th president of the Republic of Kenya, as the former chairman of KANU, as the former chairman of TNA, as the former chairman, leader of Jubilee. That notwithstanding, there are certain things that we have disagreed. This party, first of all, I'm yet to see His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta since the election.
Only on TV?
Yes,
like
I'm on
most
TV.
Of us.
Yes, other than TV, I have not seen. Being the coalition parliamentary group secretary, I have strived to organize a meeting between His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and his members of parliament. That has not materialized since the election.
After the election,
After
last
the
year,
election,
August.
yes. We have attempted to organize for meeting. It didn't materialize at all. So literally, for whatever reason, our leader was not there for us when we were being mistreated by Jubilee. For us,
as Jubilee.
Jubilee,
yes.
We will continue to, and I want to say this, we will continue to respect President Uhuru Kenyatta. Personally, as an individual, I will continue to respect President Uhuru Kenyatta. Our disagreement is this. We have seen our party being mismanaged by Kioni. We have seen our party being thrown into the dustbin by Kioni. We appealed to the leadership of the party. Nobody came out to rescue both the members of parliament and the Jubilee members on what was going on. And ultimately, the NEC made a decision on 10th February to cause certain changes by suspending Kioni, by suspending Murathe, and by suspending Mr. Kagwe. At that juncture, His Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta was still our leader. We expected him now to call, because of the crisis, to call both warring groups to say, hey, as a leader, what was going on? It's just the other day that we found His Excellency siding with Kioni. At that juncture, we invoked the Presidential Retirement Benefit, which says, and I read for you, because we are on camera here, this is what it says. It's not our circuit, it is the law. It says, Section 6 of the retirement, Section 6, the role of the retired president. A retired president shall not hold office in any political party for more than 6 months after ceasing to hold office as president.
Exactly.
Very clear?
Very clear.
Number 2, it says, a retired president shall be expected to play a consultative and advisory role to the government and the people of Kenya. It says a retired president may be requested by the government to perform specific functions and shall be paid a reasonable. This is why His Excellency the President still is our peace envoy to the DRC, has been our peace envoy actually to Ethiopia, that's Eritrea. Was there the other day, passed on to this to oversee on behalf of AU, the general election actually in
Nigeria.
In Nigeria. So Uhuru, as a distinguished Kenyan, as a distinguished former president, we expected him to join the league of Mzee Moi, late Mzee Moi, Mzee Kibaki, and first of all, respecting the institution of the presidency. Because having been the commander-in-chief, having handed over power peacefully, the instrument of power to President William Ruto. What we expected is His Excellency President, and what we expect, and I will still look for him, is to preserve the dignity and respect that comes with that particular institution of the president.
I agree with you, Mheshimiwa.
He will be above these petty political friends and say, look, this institution, because look, luckily he has retired when he was still young. But the pace that was set by Mzee Moi and Mzee Kibaki should have also guided His Excellency.
Which was their choice.
Which was their choice, yes. But still, there are certain limitations that come with...
Let me ask you, you've read that law, right? You've read that act.
Yes.
Right? What was the mischief behind putting that as a law?
He's the one actually who assented. His Excellency President Uhuru is the one who assented to this.
Yeah. What was the mischief?
There was no mischief.
There was a mischief.
There was no
to
mischief.
Keep them off politics. No. Let's be honest.
You see. Let me tell you this. You can't. You see, separation of institutional role. You have a president right now. He has handed over the institution. You know, power is too sweet.
Yeah.
He has handed over instruments of power to the incoming president, and yet if the same president is seen around interfering with the same...
So that was the mischief, let's agree.
And it has not worked in Africa.
Keep him off
it's not
politics,
like that.
Yes.
All over the world, it doesn't happen, it doesn't work.
No, we see President Obama campaigning all over.
That is a highly developed, and that's why right now they're having challenges. And I'm sure in the next few months or few years, even America will revisit.
So it's not all over. So it's not all over the world.
In Africa, it has not worked.
We saw even in Nigeria, the outgoing president fully involved in the campaigns. We've seen it.
We are not discussing the campaigns. We are discussing after the you hand over.
9 months. So the mischief, I want to agree. I'm actually agreeing with you, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
That the mischief behind the enacting of that law was to make sure that the retired presidents keep off politics and allow the other president to lead.
No, it's to allow civility in our politics.
Yeah.
That one person was who occupied this office. There's a new person. It's just like you have had a marriage. Something went wrong, you divorced. Okay?
Yes.
You still see a beautiful former wife with
someone else?
Someone else.
Yes.
And you start applying that nostalgia of what you used to.
That was my wife.
No, it doesn't happen. You need to accept that. Right now, the issue is we must accept that the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya is excellent.
I think that has been settled. It's accepted.
No, there are some who have not still accepted.
The Azimio?
The Azimio group, a section of them are still... Look, take this. I worked so hard for Raila presidency.
But it didn't happen?
It didn't happen.
Okay.
I must accept the reality that we lost. We lost.
Okay.
God did not will, and there's a reason why God did not will. You know, we as Muslims, we believe in something called, in Arabic it's called qadar, but in English it's called predestination. You work so hard, but God has also the final say. God has willed, okay, that William Ruto, as a result of his hard work, as a result of the many prayers, as a result of maybe the aspiration and the goodwill of Kenya, is now the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. The best thing that we can do is to accept that reality and work hard for 2027 and say, look, because of this and this. But if you stand in the streets and say, I don't believe in William Ruto, people will see you as a mad person.
In fact, Uhuru Kenyatta said his president remains Raila Odinga. Now, let me take you back to what you're talking about.
And that is the challenge.
Let me take you back to what you're talking about.
Yes.
When you spoke about, when we were speaking about you and supporting William Ruto and associating with anyone you so wish, it's a constitutional guarantee under Article 38. Where do you take the right of Uhuru Kenyatta to associate with whoever he wants to associate with under Article 38 as an individual, as a Kenyan citizen right now? Where do you take that right?
I think let's accept this.
Yeah.
Uhuru as an individual has every right, and I don't want to reduce this discussion to about Uhuru. And I say
we can't keep him away from this.
And I want to go on record.
Yeah.
Uhuru is a personal friend. He is my former president. He's a personal friend. I want to repeat this. A personal friend. My former president. My former party leader, because of the law. We'll continue to respect him. Where we feel his interests, his rights have been infringed on, I'll be the first one to defend.
As an individual?
As an individual. Yeah. But where I feel my former president is going out of his way, I'll be the first one to say...
Don't you think it was absurd for his own party to invoke the articles of the retirement benefit?
No, it's also absurd for the same person that we respected to side with one person called Kioni. As the father figure, he should have called all of us to say, look...
He has with the delegates, national delegates.
No, that delegate will be illegal. It will not be there.
But how is it? But I'm looking at
It's
Article
illegal.
9.1
only the
and
next.
it says the party leader may attend or summon a meeting of any organ of the party at any
The
time.
party leader has ceased being the party leader
Through
because
whose call? Your call?
no. Through the presidential, the law. The
What
law
does
is
the
an
Constitution say about the law, about association,
we have to see that,
and the supremacy of the Constitution?
Okay. He is yet to challenge that particular provision. If he challenges through a court of law,
Because
and
it sits proper, I think.
If he challenges and he goes through a court of law and the courts make a decision, we'll follow the law as of now.
Yeah.
And I don't want. That's why I'm saying I don't want us to reduce this to
Uhuru Kenyatta.
To Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
We'll continue to respect him. We want him to behave the same way Mzee Moi did, the same way Mzee Kibaki did, remain a father figure.
When you speak now the language of Kenya Kwanza, because from where I sit is actually Mheshimiwa Kenya Kwanza that should have even invoked this law against Uhuru Kenyatta. It's being done by his own party. Don't you think that's absurd?
He is not in Kenya Kwanza party. Uhuru has been a member of Jubilee.
That's what I mean.
No.
It should have been the other side.
It's only our party that can invoke. And how did we invoke this? Before, just 4 days ago, before he went to...
It was never there.
We just said we will continue to respect him. We're in the process of sorting out this, even including having a discussion of how this thing was supposed to have been sorted out. But once he has gone public, unfortunately, that NDC is illegal.
The one he's called?
Yes, it's illegal. It's inconsistent with our party constitution. It has not been called by the NEC. I'm a NEC member. We are not aware of it. And for information, out of the 29 members of NEC, 24 are on one side. And all of them are not wrong. 24 on our side. And all of them are not crazy, actually, to accept that reality. So what we are trying to say in short is this. Mr. President, my dear brother, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, please remain a father figure. We'll continue to respect you. We cherish you. You have done so well for this country. You have served this country as the Commander-in-Chief. You have handed over power peacefully. We have now the 5th President. Continue to support Kenya. Remain an agent of peace, an agent of tranquility, an agent of national unity, so that Kenyans continue to remember you. In fact, if I were him, he will start Uhuru Kenyatta, library, or Peace Initiative, or Peace Foundation, so that Kenyans can make that institution a reference point whenever there is. Right now, there's a challenge in Sudan.
Yeah, I know.
There's a likelihood there's every likelihood of seeing other challenges in the region, including what we have in Somalia. That is the Uhuru that we expected.
Do you want Uhuru that you expect to sit and watch Adan, Keynan, Kanini Kega, and the rest take his party to the Kenya Kwanza as a whole? Do you want him to sit aside?
Let me say, the Jubilee Party was a mass movement. It didn't belong to Uhuru per se. It belonged to all of us.
He's the party leader.
It belonged to, I'm a member, he's a member.
Yeah.
The only difference was he was our party leader.
Yeah.
And an official.
Do you think he is no longer, by that single act of a dispute, because what the political parties dispute tribunal said is go back to your house, put it in order, utilize and exhaust all internally available mechanism for solving this dispute. And in effect, the initial meeting that happened on the 11th or 14th of February sort of stands that gave Kanini Kega and your group this authority, sort of stands.
Yes.
But it's been disputed by Kioni, who is still holding on, and President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the party leader, saying they are still the leaders of this party.
You know, Ken, I like it's good you have internalized actually the ruling of the tribunal. That is exactly what they said. What we expected is Kioni to subject himself to the internal dispute resolution mechanism. He has not done. We also expected His Excellency to completely remain out of the political fray until the internal dispute committee, resolution committee, made a decision, certain pronouncement. That process is ongoing, and I'm sure in due course they'll make a decision because that's what the ruling say.
So does your team of Kanini Kega and yourself occupy the Jubilee headquarters? Because that's also a symbol of authority to the Jubilee party.
Okay,
do you guys go and sit in that office as officials, or you are talking and addressing us from the fringes?
You have raised a very important question. Bro, take this painfully. The former ruling party, 6 months after the election, lost that superb Jubilee party headquarters. That itself is suspect. It's one of the issues that will be questioning Kioni. How did we lose that? What happened? How much did we spend? Who contributed to this? The party now, I can tell you, even where Kioni was saying is an office, it's a small place somewhere in
the private one.
The
yes,
private,
but it's an office of
but
Jubilee.
It's not even registered as a Jubilee headquarters. Okay.
As official address of the Jubilee party.
It is not.
Okay.
The official address still remains the same. We are still contesting. We have our offices also. But what we are trying to say is this. The moment the internal dispute resolution committee adjudicates this and makes a decision, whatever decision that they make, we will accept. For now, Kioni is suspended. He's our former Secretary General. Murade is suspended. He was our former...
It's not been concluded. How does it become? It's just suspension and temporary occupation of this seat.
It is suspension until the internal dispute resolution committee makes a decision. That's what...
Exactly. So they're hanging somewhere. They're waiting for a favorable or non-favorable decision.
That can happen either way. That's what I'm saying. We will accept it.
So the status quo remains. Legally,
we as the interim, the temporary, that's what the tribunal said.
Yes.
That's why we will also respect, because this issue has now been referred to the internal dispute resolution committee.
Yes.
That is why we expected Kioni.
So my point is, Mheshimiwa, the status quo remains, right?
The status quo meaning
which one?
Our team.
Your team.
Remains.
But you're not sitting in office. You're not in the temporary office.
Let me tell you. The other office is not the other office where they said.
But that's not the office that we know.
Take this.
Yes.
Take this.
Yeah.
The landlord or the estate has given notice.
Yeah, because of the chaos.
Because of the chaos.
Yes.
Okay? And we as the law-abiding citizens felt that we do not need to be nuisance actually to those peace-loving community of that particular area. As of now, that office is not occupied. Kioni are not there. We are not there. Maybe I think they have decided to be somewhere else. We have opened a big place for the party. What we are waiting for is...
So you already know how the tribunal, how the internal dispute resolution mechanism will pan out. You already know.
How do we know? We do not know.
Then why do you occupy office? Why do you take up an office?
It can be your house.
But you just said you have a big place.
No, yes, it can be. The big place can be a good, can be the house of Michungi, who is a good follower of the party. What we are trying to say is
donating.
Yes, we are not operating from the streets.
Okay.
We are not operating from the
streets. So you are
streets.
bona fide officials as at now.
We, the Honorable Keynan is the acting Secretary General of Jubilee Party.
Sabina Chege.
Sabina Chege is our acting party leader.
Yes.
US truly is the acting national deputy chairman.
Vice chairperson.
The Honorable Dr. Rachel Yamae is the acting treasurer. You can even ask yourself.
Okay.
In fact, one of the things that Kioni and Koho did was in contravention, contempt of the ruling
of the dispute resolution.
The ruling of the tribunal. The tribunal said the changes are still accepted, but if you have a problem with it, go back to So we'll be citing Kioni in addition to the other disciplinary route that we are going to take for being contemptuous of the ruling of...
All right. We're out of time, Mheshimiwa. I have to give you this opportunity to wind up. So from where Kenyans are watching tonight, they're watching you. You are the bona fide officials of the Jubilee Party, and former retired President Uhuru Kenyatta is no longer the party leader. From where you sit?
From where I sit, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has since been the party leader of Jubilee pursuant to Section 6 of the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act. We'll continue to respect him as our former leader. We'll continue to refer to him as our friend. And personally, I want to go on record as this. If there is one person among the many friends Uhuru Kenyatta has actually in this country, is Adan Keynan.
Is you.
But I will not allow him also to preach the law. Where he has gone wrong, we'll tell him, Your Excellency, you have gone wrong. And those who are telling him the truth are his best friends, not the likes of Kioni, who just want to ride on the back of the president carrying the Sufria. In fact, I want to urge His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kioni is a disgrace. Please don't be seen next to Kioni, that Sufria is a curse.
We have to end the show. We have to end the show. Thank you so much. Tomorrow there's a session in Parliament. We'll see how it pans out. And you're my friend. I've known you for so many years. I'm going to call you back to this table after the ruling of the after the conclusion of the matter before the disciplinary committee.
Let me say this: whatever you know,
in 30 seconds.
The speaker, as the head of that critical agency, that critical entity called Parliament, whatever decision he makes, we as Jubilee will respect.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Adan Keynan from Aldas constituency. Thank you so much. Ranking member in the 13th Parliament. Actually, he says he is one of the longest serving members of Parliament. Thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing your perspective, and I want to wish you well.